Another concern that was raised is about emergency vehicles and is there adequate parking in certain spots along the way? So if we go with the median, one of my concerns is if you add additional for the emergency vehicles, then you're even going beyond the existing footprint of the roadway.
Depends on parking.
So there's 27 feet of greenway. It looks like it's just a foot or two smaller with the boulevard. So if you had to add parking on, in addition to
Exactly, yeah.
so the median is really the parking and the bus stops. It goes in, you're going to have to eat into the existing greenway.
But didn't MSA have that alternative scenario?
Yeah, that was alternative B.
In the existing roadway and it fit?
Yeah, I gotta look at it. Honestly, I gotta look at it. I can't talk up. Do you guys have it all up?
If I might, a couple of things. I find it's curious to me, on one hand, we'll argue we want a boulevard because we want the appearance of an arterial so people can move swiftly. But at the same time, we want, that's what I heard. We want it to look like an arterial.
So people stay on it, not necessarily swing, but so they stay on it.
Here's where I'm coming down, and I'm ready to make a motion after I ask one final question, Mary Beth. What do you need from us tonight?
Yeah, so I guess the alternative B is kind of a complex alternative because it's got shared biking and transit on the outside. It doesn't have designated bike lanes. So I just can't. We would draw it up a little bit different.
Yeah, that's right. I just think there is a design that fits in the existing roadway. It just wasn't forwarded. Both options that were studied and provided feedback on were narrowed roadways.
Right. So in order to move forward, we would need direction on whether we are further studying bus pullouts, whether the west side parking issue is put to rest, and whether we're going to study traffic at any other intersections, expand the traffic study differently than what it's been prepared for today. So that's what we would need to move forward on. If there isn't a decision made on the alternatives, there's not much we can do between Olive and Kensington. What we could work on is the redesign of Olive to the south that I mentioned at the earlier part, and also the design of Kensington to the north that's similar between the two alternatives. And then the last thing we would need direction from the village in some form will be how we're going to work with the committees to further the study of the environmental aspects, what's going to go in the median, all those things, like how that collaboration is going to work so that when we have that public information meeting in the fall, people feel they were involved with the process. Because I think that was always the intent, is that the engineering would come in and look at the traffic and the safety, and then we would start to incorporate these other things. So how we will make that happen between who and how we'll facilitate that, we would need direction.
Okay, thank you. The other point, clarification I would want to make, although there was talk early on in the task force about usable space on the west side, I think the discussion has evolved beyond that. And I haven't heard people saying, let's put an amphitheater there or exercise stations. In fact, the motion that we passed but 40 minutes ago said we want to preserve green space. We didn't say we want to preserve green space with the interest of putting park benches, amphitheaters, and exercise stations there. So I would respectfully disagree with that characterization of the interest, at least in this board member, in what we may or may not do with the west side of Wilson Drive. Finally, I would say, like many things, I don't see this issue as being a binary decision. Boulevards or non-boulevards. I agree with you, Trustee Maher, that the vast majority of the people that chose to respond said boulevards, boulevards. If you read further in there, there's a good number of those people that said boulevards, boulevards, because I don't trust you guys, and you're going to develop that west side. Okay, I'm going to tell you what I read and the number of emails that I read, and that's what they said. You sitting here may not feel that way, but we have emails that say that. We're not going to debate nor argue nor discuss this any further from my perspective. I don't see this as a binary decision, boulevards or no boulevards. I look at what are we trying to do. We're trying to rebuild, as Trustee Linnane said at the very beginning, 2.5 years ago, this is not a situation where we have a problem that we need to solve. We do not have a safety problem. We do not have a documented safety problem. We do not have a lack of whatever amenities we're trying to. We have got a road that needs to get rebuilt. And we are trying to make the decisions about how to design the road and rebuild it in a way that, that satisfies the needs and desires of the most residents. So as I read the emails and I think about those priorities that are expressed within them, and as I talk to other people, a lot of other people on all sides of the village, I see that it is about safety. Number one, first and foremost, pedestrian safety, bicycle safety, children's safety crossing the street, left-hand turners safety with pedestrians coming from a bus. It's about appropriate respect for the park, and by that I mean enhancing the aesthetic. A boulevard or not a boulevard, we can enhance the aesthetic quite substantially in either option. If we go with the boulevard, I think we limit ourselves financially with what we can do to beautify the west side of the street.
Stay just like it is. Keep it like we are all year.
You can all have a chance to talk if the president decides to take public comments when I'm done, and I don't interrupt you, and I would appreciate it if you don't interrupt me or any of the other trustees. I think as we beautify the boulevard, we limit, just because, as Mary Beth said, it's a trade-off. We've got $1 we spent here, we can't spend that same $1 twice. We can't enhance the beauty. If we're fine with the way it is, then we don't need to. But I think we can accomplish the goals of pedestrian safety, traffic safety, calming, access for public safety vehicles, aesthetic enhancement, without the additional expense of installing and maintaining a boulevard. So I would, at this point, in the interest of furthering the discussion and keeping us moving forward, I would propose that we direct Grafe to continue to develop the hybrid greenway alternative with the following modifications. That we add the pedestrian crossings that we previously discussed, that we evaluate, or that Grafe evaluate the option of bus pullouts to get the buses fully out of the traffic lane. That we also collect more data to address the parking needs, both with respect to the Kingo Church and the Legion Post on the south end, as well as the apartment residents throughout. And that that Grafe look to add additional width to the lanes to accommodate safe passage of emergency vehicles around a bus or another vehicle. My final comment, and I'm sorry, I forgot to add it earlier, in response to trying to make this look like an arterial, not so that people move fast, but so that they don't go off onto the side streets. In addition to the comment about, the likelihood of someone coming south, going north on a curved street only happens likely once. I think the drawing depicts, and I would be willing to look further at continuing to enhance the connections of the westbound streets to Wilson Drive in such a way. I mean, you've got some bump outs now so that those streets coming in to Wilson Drive do appear narrower at the intersection point than they do farther, to maintain that smaller street feeding into a big street field. But that's separate and distinct from the motion. I hope you've got everything. Yes, I did. I moved to have Grave continue with their development of the the hybrid greenway alternative with the following changes. That they evaluate additional street width to provide for safe passage of emergency vehicles, that they continue to evaluate parking needs and incorporate as necessary, that they evaluate and incorporate into their design bus pullouts in a way that buses can fully get out of the traffic flow, and the addition of additional pedestrian islands with markings and signage associated with them.
Second.
I'd like to amend the motion. I'd like to amend the motion to also add that Grafe would provide further study of the boulevard option in the existing right-of-way, and to come back with cost analysis and comparisons, preliminary of course, of those 3 options.
Second.
What are the 3 options?
Maybe it should be 4. So we had 2 in front of us, right? You just amended to add another one?
No.
Okay, well then,
Is it just the hybrid green?
oh, okay, so then it's 3, because it would be the regular boulevard with the 5 extra feet of grass, or the boulevard in the existing roadway.
Yes.
So it would be 3 alternatives.
And hybrid, she's saying boulevard and the 56-foot boulevard.
So continue, I don't want to get off the table what we have,
Yeah.
and then further study on the boulevard option, costing it out in the existing right-of-way. And then I do have comments, was that seconded?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess now I've had my thoughts collected, I don't have a lot of questions. I do have some responses for the residents here tonight. I don't see Wilson Drive as a problem, I see it as an opportunity, and we don't have many left in the village of Shorewood. We have a beautiful beachfront on our east side, lakefront, that I think adds to the value of Shorewood. And we have an awesome opportunity that comes around once every 50, 100 years to improve the west side. I've heard and listened, as we all have, to what the top priorities of the residents have been throughout the last year and a half of my tenure as a resident and then as a board member. It seems to be that safety has, as Grave had shown on that, I wanted that slide tonight, but it's not here, but safety was the #1 issue. And that cost seemed to come into play to negate it. The boulevard was designated as the safest option for pedestrians, for bicyclists, for cars. So we at the village, I want to talk about funding for a second. We approve almost at every meeting, or at least every other meeting, spending to improve safety in our village. We just approved Safe Kids and increasing maintenance costs. We approve bike lanes to improve safety for bicyclists on Oakland or other places. We approve, someone gets hurt at a crosswalk, and we approve more money.
Approve the Safe Kids.
Not
Not the U-turn.
Not the U-turn, but
That's
we did
right.
the grant.
Not the U-turn.
But the U-turn wasn't any money, so it was $100. We took on more maintenance costs. So regardless, there are examples all year long of what we do. If someone gets hurt in a crosswalk, we actually pay more money to get another crossing guard. So safety is a big issue in the village, and we hear you, and every time we're asked, we vote to approve safety measures. So to spend, more 100 and something thousand or some maintenance costs in the future, it's never been, since I've been on here, a problem to increase spending. And again, this is, you know, the number one reason that I would say the boulevard is for safety. The other issue that we, yes, go ahead.
I kind of feel like a lawyer sometimes. I just want to comment to surveys and no. I'm okay with whatever you guys recommend, but recommending further study of 3 alternatives will prohibit construction in 2018. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm just stating facts because,
Thank you.
because you know, study takes time and we want to come back and present those and do all the costs of it. So I'm just making sure everybody has that piece of information. There was something else, but I got it.
So just to continue, the second thing that you know, if you look at your four-thing chart, every single left-hand column talks about trees, maintain, add, traffic flow, maintain, parking, maintain, existing habitat, maintain, crosswalks, add, bikes, add, green space, preserve, spillover traffic, reduce. All of those things can be accomplished by the boulevard option. So I don't know how the decision for the preferred alternative came about. What I hear is